Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in, because in this video we are going to take a close look at one of my favorite retro game systems. It's the Sega Dreamcast, but the Sega Dreamcast nowadays is a lot of fun to collect for. Not because everything is going to be dirty cheap or something like that. No, there are so many ways to play. When it comes to the community, it's very alive, and there was so much stuff going on with the Sega Dreamcast. Like with custom cases, SD modification, PSU modification, but also you can get yourself a completely metal case, replacement case. It's crazy. You can do so many cool things with it. So in this video, I want to talk about all of these things. What can we do with it? And basically also going to talk about the ultimate Sega Dreamcast you can buy from AliExpress that it has been completely modified and is like an ultimate beast if you ask me. Sega was just ahead of his time, and it was an amazing piece of technology. I can still remember when I owned a PlayStation 2 and I basically played Dead or Alive 2 on the PlayStation 2, but also on the Dreamcast, and I put them side by side. I was just flabbergasted how good it actually looks on the freaking Dreamcast. And when it comes to collecting games, there are so many good titles, mostly rips from the arcades, what I've noticed, but also a lot of unique games like Sonic the Hedgehog, but they just released wicked games like the Quake 3 Arena. I play this game so much on the freaking PC, but did you know you can even use a keyboard and mouse in split screen? Yeah, seriously, you can hook up 2 mouses and 2 keyboards. And yeah, that is crazy what you could do all with this Sega Dreamcast, and I was just flabbergasted back in the day what you could do with it. But now we can collect so many cool games, also from Japan, and some are very cheap compared with the PAL versions, but I'm just gonna be honest, some are still crazy expensive. So that's what we're going to get with most of the Dreamcast games nowadays. Everything is crazy expensive, but it is still a fun product to collect because there are so many ways to play. And this Sonic Anniversary Edition is one of the awesome things you can collect and was not expensive, in combination with the Xeno Crisis, a completely brand new game that they released for the Dreamcast like many others. So it's still alive and kicking when it comes to the Sega Dreamcast. Okay, so when it comes to gaming, I think there are so amazing, a big cool library of games on the Sega Dreamcast. If you never own a Dreamcast, I think it's worth picking up one of these machines and yeah, just try some games. But let's take a close look at all the modifications and the stuff that we can do with it. So when you're looking at retro machines with a laser unit in it, yeah, they will go broken after some time. It's just something that's just inevitable, and some will survive for a very long time and some will instantly break. But also here we're going to get a solution we can find on AliExpress. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is very simple. Remove the modem over here. We can click it out. It has been removed a couple times. It goes very easy. The screw over here that needs to be removed too. Otherwise we can't open up the Sega Dreamcast. And the other 3 are over here, here and there. That's it. Super easy. You can use it with a normal screwdriver. You don't need any special tools. Alright. And that's it, folks. Okay, so let's flip it. And let's see if I can remove the top cover. And here we can see all the components of the Sega Dreamcast. So I'm hoping that he replaced his laser with a GDemu, and I know that he replaced with the GDemu because he has the same Dreamcast for sale, only without the laser, that he just replaced it because he wanted to have a GDemu. So it's complete with bracket, what you can see over here, but there are some things that I wanted to talk with you about, the laser and the options you're having. But there are basically 3 ways you can fix your Dreamcast. The first one is just, most of the time it's just dirty and you need to have pure alcohol and clean the laser unit itself. And that's an easy fix. Another thing is what I did, get yourself a replacement. But there is one thing you need to take into consideration. When you're looking at AliExpress, there are people have replaced the laser itself and let's say offering you a complete unit. You just go swap and replace. I will show you in this video. But I did read some comments and some feedbacks that people just use a normal CD drive. In other words, you cannot load the GD-ROM disc from the Dreamcast. So that's something you need to take consideration if you're going to get into a replacement unit. That's the reason why I basically picked out this version I'm having here. So my unit over here is a Samsung. Quite interesting to see that they are using Samsung lasers, or a unit at least. So I'm very curious if this thing is going to be working and how it will be functioning in my Dreamcast itself, and for how long, of course, because take consideration this unit is still used. Another easy fix, and that is not, in my opinion, the best option, is that you can lift up the unit itself. You can just lift it out over here, but you need to be very careful that you remove the cables underneath here, because you can just lift open the laser unit itself. So what you can do is you're going to basically, first of all, going to move the laser over here. You can flip it open, and there is a tiny knob on this machine. I will zoom in and will explain you what you can do with it. Okay, so there were some people saying that we're having this tiny knob over there, and what you can do with a normal flat screwdriver, you can just turn it a little bit, like maybe 1%, and what you're going to get to give this thing, the laser unit itself, a little bit more voltage, and sometimes it will fix the issue. But in my opinion, it's not a solution, because it will be like a quick fix, but not for the long term. Okay, so the thing that we're going to do, we're not going to remove this unit alone, no, we're going to remove it with the PCB that's beneath it. So the only thing that we need to do is remove the screw over there. There are 3 screws so far I can see, and we can lift out the unit itself. So that is what we're going to do. Okay, so let's see if we can see the other screw. Alright, here we can see it, and here we can remove it. Okay, screw number 2. It's going to be left in. Then we're having here screw number 3. And if we are lucky, we can basically remove the full unit and replace it. Okay, I want to show you, so if you want to remove the unit, what you need to do is be very gentle. No, for sure 100% all the 3 screws have been loosened, and you can just pull it out. And the reason why it goes very hard the first time is that here at the bottom we're going to get a connector that is going to be attached to the main board, will communicate, and of course this is how the disc reader works. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is just hot swapping. What we're going to do is putting the unit in here. So it seems to be that, I don't know if it's going to be the same one. I don't see a lot of resemblance. You see, like this one has a sticker, the other one doesn't. Okay, so let's do this and hoping for the best that this unit will work. Okay, so it needs to be gentle over here. So we're lucky that we don't need to remove the power supply. Align them over here and just click it in. You can feel it that the connector over here has been attached. Alright, so it's fit, everything is connected. Let's put the 3 screws back in and let's power it on, and then hope that my new laser unit will work so we can actually play some games again. Alright, so let's tighten up the screws over here. That is number 2. Okay, let's be gentle. Okay, so everything has to tighten up. The drive is in position. Okay, the old one, we're going to save it. I'm always keeping the stuff even if it's broken. So let's power it on and let's see if this freaking thing is going to work. Alright, so everything has set up, connected. My disc is, and I'm still using the same disc, Dead Alive 2, because with the first try we didn't had any luck with the first laser, so that's the reason why. Let's power it on. Oh, by the way, don't try this at home. I would recommend putting the cover on. I just wanted to show you in the video that I have changed the unit and the disc will spin. Let's power it on. Alright, let's use this lever. Okay. Same message. And it seems to get the guy actually sent me a working laser. So yeah, my friends, we can finally play some original games again on the Dreamcast. Okay, so game number 2, Sega Rally Championship. And also this game boots up. We live in an amazing time, and we can even buy some new cases from AliExpress, translucent in different kind of colors. These are like super easy to basically to swap out. Like there is a lot of mumbo jumbo that you need to do. Retro is cool. I am a retro gamer for life, my wicked family. But the thing is, like, I love to tinker with these systems, and there's so much cool stuff you can do. And with the upcoming years, I'm so curious what are we going to get when it comes to stuff for the Sega Dreamcast, Mega Drive and Super NES, because there's a lot of development there in AliExpress. We're going to upgrade this hideous Sega Dreamcast case. Also you have like different methods to get it all white, but I want to have something special. So let's see what we're going to get with the Retro School game casing. Okay, so let's do a quick unboxing together with you. Okay, I'm curious how this thing is going to look and what you're going to get. I do like the art on the box itself. So I couldn't really remember what color what I ordered, because I think I ordered like a transparent version, but I got a message from the seller that he didn't have it on stock. That happens a lot with this. So I'm curious, how long will they sell these casings? They are not very cheap, but I think it's just an amazing upgrade. I got the purple one. Purple is basically next to blue, my favorite color, so I was very happy with this. Don't like this white on it. I wish I had like a black color. There was no logo. Everything is attached, so the cover for the disc tray will work like it should be. But the only thing is I don't have a decal, so I need to find a way to get myself a Dreamcast decal. I just want to have it complete. The rubber feet are over here, so that is on there. So let's do a quick teardown and let's see what are we going to get in the inside. Everything, all the plastics are over here like with the real Dreamcast. There is even a cover for the modem, so I'm very pleased to get this one. So we're going to replace that one too. So that's it, folks. I need to get myself a decal later on. I will look into it, but for now let's do a teardown and let's have some fun and let's mod my Sega Dreamcast or replace the case. Okay guys, so let's remove the parts. I need to strip it all the way down and just see how easy it will be. So removing the case itself is going to be very easy. So let's remove the modem itself. That's the first thing. We have a screw over here, there and here, and then we have a cord, the one that has been hidden by the modem itself. That's it, the four that you need to remove so you can lift up the case itself. Okay, be very careful with all of the screws. Remember where you need to put them and collect them all, that you're not going to lose one. Okay, so let's lift it up. That's it. That's the first part. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is going to remove the GDemu drive that I basically replaced in my previous video. Then we're removing the power supply and all the components and lift out the main board itself. Okay, the thing that we can do is like rip the unit out. It's going to be very gentle because the connector's over here. It's always going to be easier to put it in than pulling it out. Alright, so that's it. Don't forget the screw itself. Let's remove this one and let's put it aside. Be very gentle with the power supply. If you just unplug it from the wall, there can still be some, say some juice in it, and you can get a shock, so be very careful about it. I just want to say it. So if you bump the condensator over here, it's not a big of a deal. In the future we'll basically remove the power supply with a different one. So you can see like there's a screw over here, there's a screw over there. You need to unplug the connector over there and that's it. And you can very gently lift it out. Okay, so the connector itself will basically put the power supply in a very sturdy position. So what you need to do is just wiggle it around, be very gentle. Just take some time and eventually it will let it go. So that's it. Lift it up. Don't forget your plastics. And we're ready to go. So in the future I will get myself a power supply replacement part that's only going to be in PCB that will be located over here, and just leave a cable to the outside so I can use like a 12-volt power supply. Super convenient, especially if you have like multi-region devices. So what I need to do is like remove the 4 freaking screws over here. So what I like about the Sega Dreamcast, everything can be put and disassembled very easily together. Okay, so let's remove this one. And you can see like it's quite a job to remove every single part and put them in the new casing, but I think it's just worth it. In the future also I'm going to replace the fan, because this thing is loud like a freaking vacuum cleaner. I want to like change it out with a special one, the silent or a Noctua sound. I'm also trying to be very gentle. Okay, what you can do is like lift it back. Oh, okay. The thing that I'm only going to say is like freaking finally. And the last thing I want to remove is now we have the PCB loose. You can very easily pull out the cable of the fan itself. So that's it. We're going to put it aside. Let's put the Parker back in. So I have everything complete. And the only thing that we're going to do modification, but you can see like you can pull it out very easily, only removing a couple of screws. I'm going to replace the battery because this thing is there already. Okay. Okay, that's it. And now we can pull it out just as that. Super easy. Of course we need the on-off switch because that is not included in the other version. Okay, so what we need to do is remove the two Parkers again. And we're going to remove the power switch too. We need to remember it, how we need to put it back in. Okay. That's it. Super toll, like the Germans say, and let's go with the mainboard itself. I must say that I just realized I had a brain fart a little bit early in this video. I said like when I remove the front PCB you can remove this, but you can't remove it because it's locked by the metal shielding of the mainboard. So I need to correct myself over there. Okay, so let's remove the plate. Same story, remove all the freaking Parkers. And when you remove them you can very gently remove the top plate. Sometimes the full mainboard comes out. Alright. There's only one difference over here, like you see having here all the black screws, and at the left, if you put it like this, where the power supply is located, we're going to get the golden screws. So we need to remember that we're going to put the right screws in the right places again, otherwise we're going to mess it up completely. Okay, the last one is over here. Last but not least, let's remove the golden ones. Okay. Oh, and removing the mainboard, that is one of the most annoying things of this build. Alright, so let's lift it up. Be very gentle. I'm trying to remove the mainboard, including every panel. Just use a screwdriver, for example, there you can lift it up like that. Okay, so the top plate is going to get loose now. Okay, I think I need to lift it up like this. Be gentle with the mainboard. That's it, folks. So let's put it aside. Okay, now only thing that we need to do, having the bottom case. Okay, it's still stuck over here. And with some wiggling around, I finally got the bottom plate. So all the parts has been removed from the Sega Dreamcast, the yellow Canary edition. We're going to put the shell back in. I'm going to make it complete. I'll make it whole again. I'm going to put this in the box of the other shell, and let's build ourselves the Dreamcast, the purple edition, translucent. And I was so excited for yeah, we can finally put my machine together, but I completely forgot to remove the modem itself, because I need to also replace this shell. Super easy again. 2 screws, remove them. That's it. You can lift it out. Let's wiggle it around a little bit. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to put together is of course the modem itself. I finally, after 5 minutes fiddling with this flicking thing outside of the camera, I managed to put it back in. It's like a really, I think it's going to be like the most horrible part of this, like putting this freaking modem together. I'm not going to use it, but hey, it's like, it should be. There needs to be a modem in it. Okay. Oh man, it's brand new plastic. I can feel it, like the screws go in, not all the way. And this is going to be a pain in the butt. Okay, so let's be very gentle. Let's do it a couple of times, otherwise it's highly possible that I'm going to crack open the connections. So that's something I would say like considered. Screw it again, screwing it back out. Do it a couple of times. Oh boy. I can tell you like already, putting this thing together, it's going to be a freaking nightmare sometimes. Okay. It's very tight, but it's freaking in. It looks very nice, this transparent purple. Yeah. Okay. The first thing that we need to do is putting the mainboard back in. And that is what we're going to do. Okay, so before you're going to do it, let's inspect it. I did look around more like on the mainboard, like what's to see if there's any modification been done. But I can say that it looks all very clean. Look at this. And I didn't clean it up, no, not at all. It's more like how it came out of the case. So the case itself was completely yellow, but I have this idea that they didn't use the Dreamcast itself a lot. Very nice. Okay, so let's put the bottom plate back in. Okay, yep, very good. Let's grab ourselves the mainboard. I need to put it back in like this. All the screws have been removed, otherwise we're going to get some issues. Alright, so let's slide it in with the connectors over there. And let's see if it goes easy peasy. Yep, it goes in very well. Okay, everything has been set over in position. Let's grab myself the screws. Okay, so let's begin with the goldies. The goldies need to be over there. Okay, let's see if it's going to be like the same nightmare putting it in like with the modem. No, this going very easily compared with the other one. Okay, let's use this. Don't tie them up yet because maybe we need to reposition everything. Okay, so let's turn it around. And let's put in the other screws, all the black ones, and there are a lot of them. Okay, I must say the mold itself so far I can see is not bad at all, because it didn't basically dropped in like an original shell. Alright, all the screws are in. Let's start tighten them up. The last one always goes not like it should be. Alright, screw number 1. Be very gentle. It's still a metal Parker in a plastic casing, and I don't know how the quality of this plastic will be compared with the original one. If you tighten them up too much, it's highly possible they will crack and your mainboard will be floating in this casing. Okay, so we're going to assemble the game ports back on the main board. I will replace this battery later on in a different video, simply because I forget to order this holder so I can replace the battery itself. It's not a big of a deal, but we can do it later. And this is really easy to disassemble. Okay, so let's lift it up a little bit. Let's plug in the ports. That's it. Okay, so first grab myself the 4 screws over here. Okay. Let's put 1 screw in. Let's put the second one in. Okay. The third one. I'm not going to screw it in all the way, simply because first you need to assemble the 4 screws. Okay, so that's the reason why. Okay, now it's fitted. And you can really feel that it's a completely new shell. Okay, let's screw the first one in. Be very gentle. Don't screw in too tight. And of course don't forget to put in the ribbon cable back. Okay, so let's wiggle it around. Let's be very gentle that you don't break it. It's always a little bit annoying getting it back in. Okay, so in the next step, let's grab ourselves the power supply, because we need to assemble it. Okay, so let's put it in position over here. All the screws have been removed, so we can put it in way easier than normal. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit tricky because you need to push it all the way down. Alright, you need to click it in over here. Okay. Alright, it's clicked in. Yeah, it's in position. It's on position here. You can double check it over there. So this piece of plastic is on the board of the controllers. Okay, everything has been set in place, so we can put the screws back in. Same story like applies to everything. Like you need to be very gentle, and oh man, these are super tight. New plastic. Okay, so we have now the controller port, power supply, everything is in position. All the screws are tightened up. So the thing that we're going to do, let's grab ourselves the fan. Still going to use the original one, and let's put it back in. Same position. That's what I like about these cases. Everything is like the original case. It's no problem whatsoever. Alright. Let's add it to the connection now. Let's put the screw in, and of course it falls down, but it's not an issue. Okay, so let's give ourselves the screwdriver. No, Ricket, that's the wrong one. Braveheart. Always I want to have it. It always does the thing that I don't want to do. Okay, these are just super tiny, so let's be very careful. Okie dokie, let's put the second screw in. Oh, you need to be super gentle with these. If you now tighten them up too much, you'll crack the connection of the fan, and you need to get yourself a different fan. Okay, everything is set up. It has been connected over here. Let's double check it, and we're ready to go. Alright, so the last step is the CD drive or the GDemu. It's all up to you, of course. Okay, so let's put it in position. This is going to be a little bit tricky because we need to double check that that connection is on the right position, and we need to put it in like this. You need to be beneath the power supply, and if it's in the right connection, you can gently push it in. Alright. That's it. And that's it. And it's in. Yep, it's almost in. Okay, it's connected and ready to go. So let's grab myself the 3 golden screws. Alright, next up, let's screw the GDemu drive in position. It goes fairly easy, right? So let's tighten it up. Alright, and the last one needs to be in position. Okay, it's a little bit tricky, but the positions are fairly easy to reach. If you're going to put your Dreamcast on a certain angle, always take consideration that you need to hold your GDemu drive, because this one is only attached in the 3 rubbers. Okay, so that's it. So all the big components have been assembled, and of course the on and off switch need to be assembled too, otherwise we cannot turn it on and off. Alright, so let's put it in position. First, let's see if we can put the cable in the position that it was. Alright, let's screw this bad boy in. Yes, let's find the hole. Okay, now put the second screw in. Don't assemble everything at the same time, or just, let's say, tighten up one screw and try to fit in the second one in. That will not work at all. Alright, so everything has been in position now. Oh boy. Oof. Oh, I can say that is really difficult. Oh boy. Let's put it in position over here where it was in the original system. Oh boy. Okay, let's click it back in. Click it back in. Let's wiggle the cable a little bit. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is put the cover back up. Let's see how this thing fits. Oof. Is that the cable? That is going to be a little bit of a jam. No, everything is in good position. Let's close it. See, every part of the console is closing over here. Alright. Okay, screw number 3 and number 4. let's get funky. Before you're going to close down, first double check if everything works, especially when it comes to the fan. Okay, so the fan is working. Everything is booting up. Alright, very well. Okay, the final piece of the puzzle, the modem. Okay, so everything has been set up. And let's play some games. Okay guys, so let's play some games. I just wanted to show you how does it look with the disc inside. So let's boot it up and let's play some Data Live 2.
Get ready, fight!
Okay, so this was a quite interesting modification and super easy to do in my opinion. You don't need to do any highlights, a big modification to the case itself. But let's go on with the show and let's take a close look at some other things that we can do now. Okay, so another awesome interesting modification is the one from TR Fight Stick. They made this awesome metal casing. Yeah, some people will absolutely hate it, some people love it. That's always what you're going to get. But this thing is more dedicated to if you don't want to use a GDemu drive unit anymore and you just want to have an SD card. That would be like this metal Dreamcast box. You can plug in your SD card fairly easy. And that's basically what this case is all about. But how do you put this thing together? Let's take a close look at that. So in this time we're living with retro game system. There is a lot of great stuff that you can buy. There are so much, let's say, new developments for old stuff that we grow up with. And I think that is pretty damn cool. And one of these things are the Dream case. And in the previous video I did a building video slash tutorial and just showing you how you need to put it together. Just more like a fun video and to enjoy together in the premiere. But now we are going to talk about in depth about the product itself. But what is also very important is who is this case for and what can you do with it? Because there are some things that you need to take in consideration before you're going to order something like this. That brings me back to my previous video where I did a battle with the two Dreamcast system, because here in my collection I have two versions. I have the GDemu and I having the Dream Shell version with the hard disk. And the reason why I wanted to focus a quick look into these systems, because if you're going to build yourself a Dream Shell, you're going to need yourself a GDemu, and maybe you can build one with the Dream Shell. That is the reason why I want to talk about it first. This Dream Shell version with a hard disk is possible to build inside this case. I did some measurement and it's just not a problem. But there are some things you need to know. Later on this video I will tell you that there are some special features of this case that are specially made for the GDemu and you can't use it with the Dream Shell. So it is possible to build it in, but it is not really compatible. But we're going to need the GDemu for the Dream Shell, because the Dream Shell is specially made for this PCB. For this way to play your games with an SD card. It has some very cool solutions that were very cheap. For example, this Dreamcast 3D printed casing that you can use for very easy access for your SD card. The finishing touch for your Sega Dreamcast if you have a GDemu and don't want to spend a lot of money. But I think the Dream Shell, even if this thing looks pretty cool in my opinion, the Dream Shell is just the next level for modding your Sega Dreamcast. But no further ado, so let's talk about the TR Fight Stick Dreamcase Shell. So I already mentioned that this thing is just the next level of modding in my opinion. There are quite some different ways you can modify your Sega Dreamcast. There are some transparent casings, but I think the Dream case, I really love the metal shell. And there are some improvements that you just need to see. So let's do this quick unboxing together. I just wanted to show you what's inside and how it's packed up. As you can see, it comes with a very nice shipping box, but also with a very cool art box. The casing itself is fully made of metal and this thing weighs quite much. And I think it's pretty cool. But beside the point that the design itself, I personally really like it, but it's more like a personal taste. As you can see here at the back, we have quite some new options compared with the original system. But I'm not going to use this 3D printed casing anymore. Nope, everything is going to be disassembled, the GDemu, and there are even some new adjustments with the Dreamcast casing. If you want to see it, I have a previous video for that, but let's focus on what did I change and what are the improvements with the new casing. When you're done with building the Dream Shell Sega Dreamcast, you can see this thing looks completely different and there are some minor changes. So let's begin with the power supply, because this is quite interesting. Okay, with the building video you can already see that I'm removing the original power supply and this thing will not be coming back in the new shell. This one will be replaced with a completely new PCB that will be assembled the same way. It is a very nice way to go. And really convenient because we can just use ourselves a 12 volt 3 amp power supply. With the GDemu we're also having some changes over here. We're having the SD card adapter that goes into the GDemu with a ribbon cable that goes to the back. Also we need to solder 2 wires on the PCB simply because we're going to use the button on the back for switching between discs. When you're done and plugged it in, it's very easy to switch a disc because you just need to press a button on the outside. Also, we can change the SD card very easily from the back, so that is pretty convenient. With my build, I'm just using the original fan that came with my system. You can use a Noctua fan. All the adapters and how you need to assemble it is very easy. But if you want to do a fan improvement, and I can recommend doing it, you just use the extended cord, put it on the shell and we're having the fan in place. But even if you want to use a better fan, I think the cooling of the system is a big improvement in my opinion. Here at the left side we're also having some ventilation, and when you're putting the thing on, you can feel it pushes the fresh air through the system. So the cooling in my opinion is way better than the original system. But you really like to have a casing like the Dreamcast, but you're not familiar with disassembly of the Sega Dreamcast and assembly of the casing. I can already tell you it's not very complex, simply because the Sega Dreamcast is just a very old retro system and there are quite some components, don't get me wrong, but if you're looking at how you need to disassemble it, it's very easy and you just need to pay a little bit of attention to see how you need to disassemble it, but it is not really hard to do. But how about how you need to put it together? Disassembly is always the easiest part to do so. When you're going to put it together, at first I needed to watch tutorials a couple of times because I had no idea how to assemble it. But when looking at tutorial, and the tutorial of the official company tutorial is just great. He did a very nice job with it. I also did an assembly, but his video is way better, I'm just going to be honest. And putting it together, you can see that it is similar to how the original console was assembled at the first place. Of course there are some minor changes, what I already mentioned with the GDemu, the power supply. But it is very convenient, and the biggest challenge you will face is soldering the 2 wires. If you skip the part, you can do so, but you can't use the button on the back. And that is just a little bit of a bummer in my opinion. So you need to solder them. But what I do like about this casing, that we have the option to use the HDMI mod in combination with this casing. This casing is specially made for the GDemu and for the HDMI mod. I didn't use the HDMI mod because I don't have it. I'm just going to use the easy way, an external HDMI cable. I'm just going to be honest with you guys, I was hyped before I even started with this casing itself because I am a really big Sega Dreamcast fan. And seeing the final result of this device, it's just amazing. I really love the light up feature, it looks amazing, it weighs quite much now because this thing is one big massive metal block. And yeah, the design, and that is more like a personal taste, that is something that you're going to love it or you're just going to hate it. By the end, if you're putting it all together, if you're buying a Sega Dreamcast, if you're getting yourself a GDemu, and even if you want to buy, let's say, an HDMI mod, in combination with this case, your Sega Dreamcast going to be crazy expensive. Alright guys, so let's take a close look at this option, the SD function that you can get, including the 3D printed unit, because this one already has the SD unit side but doesn't have the 3D printed extension. It's super convenient and it looks so much more better than this thing having like one gaping hole. But okay, so the SD function, you can do all kinds of cool stuff with this Dreamcast, and just want to focus mainly on this part. So what you're going to get inside this tiny box is the extension cable for the SD card. And you can basically buy these from AliExpress. You can buy the GDemu, and you can also like buy a complete kit, even in different colors. So if you like in a translucent case or just in a white or a black case, you can get them in all kinds of colors. So I think that's pretty damn awesome. Here we're going to get the 3D printed part. I think you can even make it yourself if you can 3D print it, but yeah, from AliExpress you buy them for a couple of dollars, so why should you bother? Or that is my opinion. But we're going to build this thing inside of the Dreamcast. We're going to do this tiny upgrade. I think it's still very cool to do if you didn't have this one or you want to have this full kit. It's also very easy to assemble, so everybody can do it. If you just have a Phillips screwdriver, you can just basically attach this thing to your Dreamcast fairly easy. And I think this is just an amazing upgrade for your Dreamcast. this is just a super easy solution, and you can swap out SD cards fairly easy. And I think this is again like one of the best upgrades you can get if you have a GDemu and you have like this gapping hole inside of your Dreamcast. So briefly, let's talk about the Kaiko HDMI adapter for Sega Dreamcast. So what I find quite interesting with this one, it also comes in different kind of brands, Bitfunks is one of them. And I must say, like, this is a super easy and very cool way to play some HDMI and have the best signal on your Dreamcast. I must say that there are like a lot of different options we'll talk about later with the Ultimate Sega Dreamcast, but those are like super expensive. This thing will run on 480p 60 Hz. Take consideration that the game itself needs to be supporting the signal out, and it may be possible that some games don't have the same signal out. And okay, so what you're going to get in the inside is going to get a very nice high quality manual that explains how you need to quick start. It's quite easy, and that's something you need to take consideration. I can remember that some of them do have the option for add an additional 5 volts if this is possible, and sometimes it's even needed. Let's take a close look inside the package what we're going to get. Here we're going to get this semi-cable dongle thing. At the end we're going to get an HDMI out. And yeah, you just plug in your typical cable. This thing doesn't have any option for having an additional 5 volts. So that is not necessary for this one. So we can basically use this plug and play. What I really like about this cable, that it fits in very tight into your port of your display. So no wiggly, or you don't need to be afraid that it's going to fall out very easily. Okay, so when it comes to the image quality, I'm just using this on a normal 6x9 LCD monitor, but I must say the image itself looks amazing, and it's such a big difference, and it's so super convenient. It also sends out the audio, so you don't have any issues. But let's take a close look at it from a capture card perspective.
Of heroes. Select your heroes. The battle for survival begins. Engage.
Versus Asteroid. Battle 1, fight! Knockout! This victory strengthened the soul of Kilik. You win!
俺負けません。
Battle 2, fight!
So what's it gonna be? You're trapped in a new world, a street by the creek. Make your first move, so what's it gonna be? You're trapped in a new world, a street by the creek. The third chapter, so what's it gonna be? The third strike, y'all, a Street Fighter 3.
Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Yeah, I'm aware of the world. I'm fighting. Prepare to strike now.
But okay guys, so if you want to have like a cheap HDMI solution, I think Bitfunks and Kaiko and such kind of brands have amazing awesome cables that you can just pick up for not a lot of money and just have like a blast to the past on your HDMI television. Alright guys, so let's take a close look at this Sega Dreamcast. You would say, what's so special about this one? So this is basically like the Ultimate Edition. Comes with an SD unit and it also has the HDMI out. So every single mod you can think of, this bad boy has it. And that also includes the PSU mod for the Sega Dreamcast. So this thing absolutely has it all, only it doesn't have the metal case I've shown you before. There's still a big community behind it, and not to forget, they are still making new games for it and a lot of new modifications. And they are even selling it on AliExpress, fully modded with HDMI and SD function. The PlayStation 2 was personally my first console I got in that generation, like maybe many of you. But quickly, after I had it for a couple of years, I realized I missed out something pretty cool. And of course that was the Sega Dreamcast. So after having the PlayStation 2 for a couple of years, I purchased myself a second-hand Sega Dreamcast with a pile of games, including Sonic Adventure 2. That is still one of my favorite games for this system. So I was searching for the Sega Dreamcast that comes with not only the GDemu for the SD card function, but I wanted to have the HDMI. And guess what? I came across this machine on AliExpress, looking at it thinking, this can be a very interesting price and console combination because you're going to get everything. So this machine is fully modded with HDMI, GDemu, also going to get the power supply mod. So in that overall, it looks quite interesting. So I just want to pick it up and we're going to do a teardown just to see what we're going to get. Okay, so let's open it up and let's take a close look at the GDemu. So the SD mod comes also including the 3D printed mod, and that is pretty cool because I think that's just more like a finishing touch to it. It has an SD extension, so this means you can very easily swap out the SD card. It comes with an 8 GB one. Okay, and the other thing is more like you have this button that you sometimes need for using the GDemu options. And then we're having this extra slot, so if you want to have a spare SD card, you can put it in there. Okay, so let's take a close look at the back of the system. And here we're going to get two changes. Let's talk about the barrel jack at the back, because we're going to get an external power supply with this. Yep, the internal power supply has been replaced with one of the mods that is included in the system. The Sega Dreamcast also came with this brown box. And inside the box we're going to get some paperwork, like this one, that basically says how to install one of the mods. Already have been done, of course, but it's still cool that they're going to give you. But the power supply. So here we're having it. This one comes also with different attachments for different regions. And the first thing I'm noticing is that this 12 volt 3 amp feels quite heavy. It looks like it's a very nice quality power supply. And all the plugs that we're going to need depending where you're living. And for me is of course the European zone. At the back we're going to get this very tiny HDMI output, because this thing also includes the HDMI mod. And this mod, to be honest, this is the reason why I basically bought this thing. The package also includes an adapter from mini HDMI to the normal HDMI. Personally, I recommend just using a cable that already has this conversion. Okay, so let's plug it in, and I'm noticing that it clicks in very well, so you cannot easily pull it out. Okay, so let's take a close look at the bottom part. And the first thing that I'm noticing, that we're having 3 extra parkers. They are using these for putting the HDMI mod in place in the case, so it can't move around. Okay, I wanted to do a quick teardown just to show you what are we going to get in the inside with the mods, and not to forget, how does it look. Yep, but they're not giving us a modem, so for the people who really like to have a modem with it, it doesn't include that one. So let's open it up. Okay, so this is what you're going to get when lifting up the top cover. And I must say, there are some things I'm noticing that I don't like. So it looks like that they replaced the fan, or it looks new, but it's not an Noctua fan. And this thing sounds like a freaking vacuum cleaner. Another thing is what I find a little bit of a bummer, they didn't replace the battery. Because the first time I booted it up, yep, I got the date setting error. So it's just a minor upgrade, but sadly they didn't do it. So they are giving us the Dream PSU. It's a very common one you can pick up. You can buy them separately on AliExpress if you want to for your own Dreamcast. So let's remove the GDemu complete with 3D printed case. You can just basically remove it by removing 2 screws, and we can just pull it out. And this is the 5.5 edition. You can also buy this one separately on AliExpress if you want to. So the next thing I wanted to do is very gently remove the top plate, because I want to take a closer look at the soldering skills and how did they make this. I will give them some extra wicked kudos simply because they have changed out the thermal pads. That's something more like a minor adjustment, but it can make a big difference. So in overall, this is what you're going to get in the inside. And the first thing I'm noticing that we're having an extra chip. So I didn't know that they were giving us an extra chip. They also included an extra thermal pad on the other chip over there. They did surprise me with this extra chip inside the Sega Dreamcast that I bought, because I didn't know it was in there. And they also didn't put it on the selling page that was going to be including some extra things beside the GDemu and of course the HDMI function. And the soldering, in my opinion, it's not really bad. But I think the main reason I opened it up, I want to take a close look at the DC HDMI. How did they do the soldering and how does it look? So, and overall, let's zoom in with the camera and let's check out how is the soldering. Okay, so I tried to zoom in with the maximum I can do with this camera to give you a good idea. Of course, best thing is the microscope, but I don't have this, so I do it with the best thing I'm having here. And in my opinion, again, the soldering is not really bad. So at the right side we're going to get the Wi-Fi antenna because the HDMI function has Wi-Fi capabilities. But in overall, I am very pleased of the result and what we're going to get with this Dreamcast with HDMI functionalities. Especially when you're looking at the price, it's a pretty good deal and it's a very nice job. The only thing I can complain about is more like the backend battery. More like this minor thing, why didn't they do this? Okay, so let's boot up the Sega Dreamcast vacuum cleaner. That's the reason why I want to have a Noctua fan in this thing. I hate the sound, it's really loud. Okay, so it's booted up, it shows Dream Key in the VMU. So what I like about the GDemu, it's a super easy way to basically play all of your games from an SD card. So the system itself is already set up, so the only thing you need to do is add your games and just be on your way. The menu is the same like I've shown you in different videos. It's a very clean menu with the text and it also shows a tiny preview, more like a game disc. So when pressing the left and right trigger, A and X, and pressing start, we're going to get this special menu. We're having a lot of different things we can change out, like output resolution, advanced video settings, scan lines, video mode settings, firmware, Wi-Fi setup, and of course the test and info. Well, let's take a close look at the resolutions, what kind of different ones we're having, and how does it look. The best thing that we can do, if you want to switch between the 480p, 960p, or 1080p, or the VGA, let's do in capturing. When you take a close look at the menu, we're having so many options like advanced video settings, deinterlacing 480i, deinterlacing 576i. There are so many different things you can adjust with this HDMI mod. So having the scanline option, so if you're into the scan lines, you can basically use different options with this. Video mode settings, force to VGA, cable detect, switch trick VGA, firmware, Wi-Fi setup, and of course the test info. Okay, so when I was noticing this Sega Dreamcast on AliExpress, I was completely surprised to begin with. I'm all like, wait, what? A complete modded Sega Dreamcast with HDMI function for this amount of money? Is this too good to be true? Or is there something not right? But when you're looking up and doing the teardown, you can see that the soldering skills are quite good in my opinion, and the overall deal is not bad at all. So let me know in the comments, what do you think of this deal? So as you can see, Sega Dreamcast is alive and kicking nowadays. You can do so many cool things with it. It's absolutely like mind freaking blowing. Yeah, I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become the Wicked family. And if you have any question regarding a modification, you can always leave it in the comments. Really looking forward of what are we all going to get in the future. Are we going to get new modifications and new things with the Sega Dreamcast? And it will be great to see you in the next video.